Hey, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. It's very windy here inside the house. Just FYI.
It is not windy here, but it's a little stuffy in my office, so I have some of my windows open. So
Mm.
we'll
I
see.
have mine open because it's so pretty outside, but we keep getting big gusts of wind. So if it looks like I'm getting blown away by a tornado, I might be.
Okay, we'll say
Okay.
goodbye then if you if
Okay.
you do. Say
Okay.
bye,
I'll try. I'll go,
Sarah.
bye. I'm going down to Kansas now. Yeah. How are you? Well,
I'm
nobody's here
good.
yet since it's still just us.
Looks like Jenifer is
Oh,
on. I
hey,
don't know if
Jennifer.
Jenifer, do you want to join as a guest or do you want to just comment? I know that you're in the car.
Driving, driving, driving.
Oh, yeah, I'll just invite her, and if she wants to, she
There you go.
can. Okay.
I decided to sit in here instead of the office since the office is so thriller based. It felt like, okay, I should probably change my background a bit. Hello, Miss Jenifer Ruff.
Hi, Jenifer.
Hi.
How's the drive going?
Good. I'm going to play with my filter for a second.
Okay.
See if I can put one on. Enhance.
I don't think I have a filter on, but maybe I do.
Hmm. Do I look any different? No.
No. You look good, but you don't look any different.
Did you go in the under the enhance feature?
Yeah, and I moved the little bar across, but it didn't change me.
Hey, JC,
That's
do
it.
you want to join? Do you want to be on screen? This is our mystery thriller book club group.
I learned how to do grids since our last Mystery Thriller
Ooh.
Monday.
Ooh.
You learned how to do
So
what?
we how to have a grid instead of having, oh, you didn't see last, oh, you probably saw that when you uploaded YouTube, but I couldn't figure out how to not have, it's called, I think it's panel mode where it's like just one person and then the little, everybody else is really small on the side. So this is a grid where everybody who is
The
on
Brady
gets to
Bunch style.
see. We're waiting for the
Miss
Addison.
Addison. And JC's here. I don't know if she wants to be in the
I
grid or in the
I didn't.
text.
I invited her so she can
Oh,
she can decide if she wants to.
okay. I can just see a little request box. I don't know what that means. You're our pro at this.
I already can't find a feature that I found when I was playing with it earlier this week.
What
So
was the feature?
you could actually have a little sticker where you can put text in it. So I was hoping
Oh,
so that you could, whenever the screen came up, you could have the text on there.
oh.
Um, I can't find it this time, this time around. So
Oh.
um, maybe next time.
Hmm.
Let's see.
Can you hear me?
I
Yeah.
can hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear
Hmm.
me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good.
Yes. I discovered this tonight. I'm not a fan.
What is it?
What?
My
Your neck?
rattle. Yes. So I'm trying to keep the camera not showing that, but then it looks stupid. So this is hard, this whole, being public.
Oh my
It's fun.
gosh, it sure is. Yeah, but 20 years ago, I think I would have minded it less. My
Right,
20-year-old
right.
face.
Yes. Well, I don't mind my face, but I'm not a fan of this. Wasn't there a Sex in the City episode where they were upset about that?
The next.
Yeah.
They're always upset about every little
Well, that's
piece,
true. That's true.
but
And we're perfect just the
Um,
way we are.
I'm not sure if JC is going to join us, but on the last live, it was actually really great to have one of us in the comments posting
Hmm.
questions. That was so great.
Oh,
So
that's a good idea.
maybe one of us can do that each time.
Yeah.
JC is on, so she's hi JC. And those joining us, it's 5 o'clock now. We are missing one of our co-hosts, but I think we can go ahead and get started, and she can join a little bit later
Yeah.
when she comes on. Okay, officially start. We are the Mystery Thriller Book Club. This is Mystery Thriller Monday. And today we're doing an author spotlight with Sara Isabelle, also known as Sara Ennis.
Yes, just call me
She's
Sara.
but just Sara. She's always Sara, no matter what.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk to Sara today about her new series and new book that's coming out tomorrow. A bit of a change from her normal dark psychological thrillers. So we'll get into that. If you want to go ahead and like the live, share with your friends, that would be great. Because at the end of the hour, one viewer will be winning a signed copy of the new book.
Yes.
Yes. Exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sara, I'm going to, let's see what we've got going on here. I don't know who that is. Anyway, sorry if you're asking to join and I don't,
Nope.
if you're not familiar with me, I'm not going to let you join. Sorry. So let's see.
That's nice that someone else wanted to get on with us. Must look like we're fun.
Addison just popped in, so.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So we're gonna have.
Oh yeah, come in the
Sara
big box.
talk about. Yeah, I was just gonna ask you. Do you prefer to be a big box, or just you want everyone to have the same size box?
No, I'll be the big box and just mess with my hair. No, I'm fine for now. I mean, when we're, eventually, let's go back to everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
We've got Addison Michael joining. She's our other co-host. You may remember her from last week's Mr. Thriller Monday, as she was our featured author talking about her new release, When They Disappeared. Okay, so everyone's here.
Yay.
Hi, Addison.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
All right, so over to Sara. We would love to hear about what you've got going on, what's coming out tomorrow, and maybe a little bit of inspiration behind the new book and the new series.
Okay. It's called tomorrow is the first cozy in a series of 12 that are planned. It's called Living in Bliss, and it's set in Bliss, Iowa. It's sort of like Stars Hollow, but in the upper Midwest. So if you're a Gilmore Girls fan, you'll get that reference. It's a bunch of cute shops along the river. It's famous for the Pen and Pages book festival that happens every year, and there's a writing center there. And then there's a famous bar where a lot of famous bands and musicians have come through. So that's the setting. Our character is Lyssa Jones. She's returning home after being divorced. Her father just died, but he won't stop talking to her. So he's got all sorts of advice now that he's dead, even though he wasn't real good at communicating when he was alive. So during the Pen and Pages Book Festival, there is a murder. A famous author turns up dead, and Lyssa is knee-deep in trying to figure out who did it and why, to get her Aunt Maybe, which is short for Maybe She Will, Maybe She Won't, Maybelline Jones, get her out of trouble. So that's the premise of it. Hi, Charlie. Charlie's joining us. Well, I don't know if you can see her. Get down, Charlie. Get down. And let's see what else. I got distracted by the dog. What else do we need to know? Oh,
So let me ask you before you go. You said it's about an author who is killed. It's not one of us, right? Like,
no,
or anybody
it's
you
none
know.
of us.
It's not inspired
No.
by any of your author
No,
friends.
this guy is a
Okay.
misogynistic. Oops, I can't say. Never mind. Forget you heard that. No, it's none of us.
Okay, good. Thought I'd check.
Yep, good question. No, none of us. So, what else can I tell you?
So are the same characters going to be in each of the 12 books?
Yeah. Well, yes. Each book is set in one of the shops or around one of the shops. So the next book is a farm to table dinner setting. The following book is a heist, a caper heist kind of thing, that is set in Flower and Spoon, which is a bakery / ice cream parlor. And that one features a bunch of the senior citizens in town because they're going back to a jewelry heist that happened in the 60s. So it's got a very full cast. And it's really fun building this world. I'm really enjoying it. One of the most common review feedback things I've gotten is people want to live in this town. So that made me happy because I want to live in this town too.
Yeah,
So what
great.
inspired this? Because I know, so for those who can see your name on here, is your other personality, writes dark psychological thrillers under Sara Ennis. What made you decide to write cozy as opposed to the darker thriller books?
Well, the weird thing is Living in Bliss started in 2008 as a romantic comedy, but I tried to kill a bunch of people in it. And that sort of led me to realize that my true passion was murder. So it has a history in that. I've reworked it, obviously. So now that, none of the good people die, it's not quite as crazy. But you all write darker books for the most part, and it can be nice to have a palate cleanse. And so writing funny, writing deeper characters, writing something where community and found family are so important has been really, really fun and a nice change. But I will confess, after having written 3 cozies in the last few months, I am ready for dark. So the next book is going to be extra dark, I think. So that could be an interesting balance.
So I'm
JC,
sorry.
so I was going to say, JC has a question. She says, what were the pros and cons of writing cozy versus the dark thrillers?
Cozies are shorter, so they're faster. You have clues and you have, the crime, but you don't have the deep psychological dive that you have to do in the kind of thrillers we all write. So it's a little bit more clue based, a little bit more character based. So it doesn't take near as long. Character is huge, and I love writing character and dialogue, so that part came really easily. Whereas in thrillers, that a lot of times they're alone, they're having to deal with everything on their own, and they don't have somebody to talk to necessarily. So it's just quicker, much quicker, I think, and it's just fun. Versus the other ones are fun in a different way. Whoa.
I haven't picked up your story yet. Is it written in first person, like from the start to finish?
Yes, first person. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. I actually was poking around in the cozy reader groups to figure out what's most popular, and that's definitely the most popular.
And the rest of your books, I know the Dollhouse was third person.
Yep. And
what
then
about the other?
They're all
thrillers?
first person. All of them are
They're all
first.
first?
Yeah. It seems to be the trend right now. And I don't know. The Hunted, I started writing in third person, and then it just did not feel right, and so I switched it to first person. And
I
the book
think
that
it's
shall
much
not be named.
easier, personally.
Yeah.
I think that it's faster, and I only have 2 books first person, only because my other series I started third and felt I had to stick with it. But
Yeah.
I think it's easier.
I do too.
I do too. I write most of my books are first person. I have one series that was kind of all over the place where I didn't realize it until I went back to look at it that half of it was third person, and then I switched to first person.
Oh, wow. Well, and since you
I was like, why did I do that?
You dictate and you act out your stuff while you're writing it, that would be harder to do in third person.
Yeah, and I think sometimes reading third person, it's harder to get into the head of the characters, versus you kind of can feel what they're
Totally
going through.
So I guess I'm the odd man out, but I started writing my series is in first person as the main character, but then it switches to third on the other chapters. And that was complicated, but I don't love first person. And so when I switched and started writing third, everything just flows a lot easier for me. So I don't know what it is. I like first because of the unreliable narrator aspect. Yeah. You can be telling a story, but people don't know you're probably lying. So it's a lot more fun, but I'm not as much of a fan as you guys are.
Everyone's different too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Sarah, how do you said you've written?
Oops, what was that? I heard multiple things at the same time and didn't understand either one clearly. What was your question?
Jenifer.
No, go ahead, Holly.
Oh.
I think you were.
I was just going to say, because I think we probably all have a different writing process. Like, so for you, Sarah, you said that you've written 3 cozies in the last few months. Mm-hmm. Do you outline your books? Are you just like sitting down, like I've got these ideas and I'm just going to go at it? Or is it, how did you get 3 books in a couple of months?
Yeah. Because it's so character based, they're kind of throwing themselves at me going, write about me next. It's kind of fun. That's one of the things I'm liking about it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. It's very nice to have that because that doesn't happen with the thrillers. The thrillers are harder.
Is this your first? Oh, sorry. Is this your first thriller series? I think your other ones are standalones, aren't they?
No, The Dollhouse, The Hunted, and The Mercy are a series, although you can sort of read them out of order. And then Little Doves has a shared world, but it's not series. So this is the first like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, numbered series. So this will be the first of those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think your
Yeah.
cover is absolutely gorgeous. Like art
I
I'd
do
want to
too.
have on my wall. So
It was worth the stress.
did you give your designer that image, or did he come up with that for
He
you?
came up with that. We talked about, he's never done a cozy before.
Oh.
He does a lot of thrillers, as you know. He had never done a cozy. We were talking about it. I gave him some just examples of what was doing well in the cozy world. And then I told him, it's a riverfront town. It's kind of like the Riverwalk in Texas, but it's obviously in Iowa. And it's a little older because that one's sort of newly built. So it's old stores, but along the river. And he envisioned it and came up with this great concept. The plan is every book is a different shop. And when, as we're building them, you'll be able to put all the books side by side and see the Riverwalk.
Wow.
I love that idea. It makes me so
That is
happy.
Oh, wow.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Then you'll
so
have to do
smart.
what I did with my series where you have them on a
Yes.
display and so they all line up. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's just so many fun marketing opportunities and stickers and all sorts of fun things we can do with this.
Fun.
It is fun. It is fun.
So I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I am so jealous that you can write funny. Funny is not my thing, never will be. I don't even try. So, did you know that you were a funny person, or do you feel like your characters are the ones who have the funny voice? How did that come about?
I mean, I'm definitely the class clown in my friend group, sort of.
I can say as knowing you for, I think I've known you for a year or 2 years now, something like
2 or
that.
3. Yeah.
I definitely find you funny in general. And you know what? I have to say too, even though this question isn't at me, because I just, as a first person account, can tell you that Sara is a funny person. But I also find you're like I just finished reading The Hunted, and there's, even though it's really dark content,
Yeah.
there is humor in it for
Yeah.
sure. Like considering that the character's name is Chicky Boom, right?
Yeah,
like,
Chicky Boom, yes.
I mean, I feel like it's, I can't wait to read this new one because I already see the humor, even when it's super dark. There is definitely, I think you can feel your humor.
But don't you think in real life, well, some people, not everybody, but when you're under pressure, I mean, I crack inappropriate. When I broke my leg in 9 places, I got the giggles and I was giving the paramedics a hard time because that's how I handle stress, is I have to laugh. And I think some people do that. So I hope the humor in my dark stuff is not necessarily appropriate, but makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Some people don't do that, Sara, just so you know.
No.
No.
Okay. Well, fine.
But
So you can be funny and you can be dark. Do you have any sex scenes in your books? Can you be sexy?
Well, I can tell you, okay, the funny backstory on the first Living with Bliss, which was a romantic comedy. It actually got a lot of agent interest to read like the book. And the feedback I got across the board was I write funny well, I write sex well, I don't write romance well. So, and now I don't, I mean, okay, this is a secret that I'm sharing about my cozy mystery, but I used to write erotica back in the day before we had, Popular Spice, for some national magazines.
You are full of surprismes. All I know. I can't wait in 10 years when I still know you in 10 years, what I'm still going to be learning about you.
Some strange stuff, probably. But yeah, so back in the day, I used to do that.
Did you publish any of those? Are they published books?
No, those weren't books. They were short stories in magazines like Playgirl and Penthouse.
Wow.
Well, that's where the money is.
Used to be, yeah. Now
if I
everybody
could do that, I think I might. Like, I couldn't do it. But if I could, I think I'd be all over it. Like, I mean...
Well, now the popular stuff, you have to have, like, aliens and alien parts. which sounds fun, but I don't know if my brain works like that. I'm too much. I like killing people too much.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe we could start thriller erotica.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm sure
I'm
there's.
going to take a quick moment here. So we're at 15 after. I just want to say to anyone who's recently joined that this is the Mystery Thriller Mondays from the Mystery Thriller Book Club. And today we are talking to Sara Isabelle about her new cozy mystery that comes out tomorrow, Living in Bliss. And at the end of the hour, one person is going to be winning a copy of the new book. So stay tuned, like and share the video. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right,
If anybody, I could even send.
Sarah.
Since I'll be sending a cozy. If somebody wants, the winner wants, they can also pick one of the thrillers. I'll send them one of each. They can meet all of my demented personalities at once.
So Sarah, what was the hardest part of writing this? Like, what was the most challenging part of writing this book? Did you have a hard time going from dark to light, or was that easy?
It was easy this time. I think because I've known these characters for a long time. If I had tried to start from scratch, it might have been harder. But I did have these characters in this world sort of in my head from the other version of this book. So I think that gave me a jump start. And then it came so easily. And like I said, the character ships kept saying, write about me, write about me. So it wasn't intimidating like it can be with the thrillers. So, I mean, hopefully the book's good and it wasn't just, a bunch of bad word vomit, but we'll find out tomorrow. The reviews have been okay. I haven't sent out a ton of ARCs yet. So, I'm a new author in this genre, so nobody trusts me yet. That's the hard part, the marketing part.
So how are you getting your reviews? How are you finding your?
I had a beta
readers?
team. I asked for a couple of friends and I had 30 people offer to read.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Well, I think a lot of them are afraid to read my dark stuff. So this was like, yes, I can do this. So that was kind of funny. And then I used something called Story Origins to do, it's like NetGalley for people who know what NetGalley is. But it's a lot more accessible, I think. It doesn't have the big ego attached. You know how people get very excited they get approved for NetGalley. This is just more for people who really just want to read early books. And so I use that a lot. I've used it on all my books, actually. Yeah.
So JC asked, do you listen to music when you're writing? And if so, what kind of music?
I can't, I'm a person who sings along. So I can't listen to anything with words. Otherwise I get distracted and start dancing around the house. So I do listen to things. Depends on what I'm writing because I am influenced by the energy of the music. Do you guys have that? Is that just a weird Sarah thing?
Oh, the one time I tried to listen to crazy music, like spooky music, that's where ghosts came from in my story. So I'm very impressionable, I guess.
Yeah, me too. Oops. Sorry, you get to look at my ceiling for a second. That's something stuck on me.
I listen to music. I watch TV while I edit and write. I do the whole.
Oh,
everything. I like having noise.
I have to have silence. Nobody can talk.
Yeah.
I definitely cannot have music with words. That would just drive me crazy.
Right.
It would just pull me right out of my work thoughts. So I'm pretty much going to have silence. And if like a dog starts licking or something, I go crazy, get out of the room, stop licking. I can't think.
My upstairs neighbor is kind of a music aficionado. He loves everything. And so he's always playing music and I can hear it. So that's as close as I get to music. But in this series, the ghost owned a blues bar. And so every one of the books has a playlist that's themed around the book. So the first book, it's, what is it themed about? Well, the second book is food. The third book is jewelry. And now I can't remember the first book is about words, songs that are about words or books or whatever. So, and I created the playlist on Spotify so you can actually go listen to them.
Wow.
Which I think is so
clever.
Yeah, I just think it's fun. So I have listened to those while I was editing. but that I can't do it when I'm writing from scratch. Then I can't listen to music.
So because
Sarah,
you're writing the new genre, do you recommend them to your existing readers? Like, do you say, hey, I know you guys love my dark thrillers. Is anybody interested in cozies? Have you like
What that's
asked
what
your
I
newsletter or?
Yeah, I have a pretty good sized newsletter, so I sent an email and said, "Hey,
Mhm.
you know, my split personalities are rearing their heads, so you get to decide, do you want to be just thriller, just cozy, or both?" And I would say 60% want to be just thriller, but the rest want to be either cozy or both. So I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. So they're going to self sort. I'm a little worried about social media. Like, I don't know on my TikTok account, should I split them? Or should I just, I mean, it'll be really obvious what the post's about. There's either going to be dead, bloody girls or there's going to be funny, cute cats. So, you know, people can figure out which book it's about from that, I think. I hope.
So do you have any of your animals featured in the new book?
Yes. Well, in the second book, they find a blind Australian husky puppy, kind of like mine, and name her Stevie. She gets a better name, Stevie Nicks, instead of Charlie, who's a girl but was named after Ray Charles, who is blind. I didn't name her, so I thought that was better. And then there's a cat named Trouble, who was definitely inspired by my cat, whose name is Eartha Kitta, but very inspired by her. Yeah, of course. And then not the third book, the fourth book, one of the characters is opening an animal sanctuary. See, it's fun because I get to do every career I ever wanted. I get to be that in writing. It's very fun. I like this. Somebody's tickling me. What else, or can we just start talking about everybody's books now?
I want to know if there's any author out there that inspired you to go in this direction. I know that you are very careful about not reading certain things in your genre because you want to be very pure and very your style.
Yes.
But I'm wondering, is there anyone you saw out there that you thought, oh, I could do that?
There's an author named Jenifer Ruff, who has been my favorite author for 25 years now. And she now writes with Bob Mayer, who writes kind of military stuff, and they're working together to write rom-coms. So they're different. There's definitely sex, definitely swearing, but there is mystery in it, and there is the found family, which is the part that I like so much. And our characters are really good. So I would say if I was inspired by somebody, it would be her and Bob. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you have your book that you can show us the cover?
I don't have any yet because the cover, I just got the covers 3 days ago or Thursday.
when does the book come out?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, just the ebook?
Oh, no, the paperback came out today. And I ordered author copies, but they said it was going to take 10 days. So I don't have any yet.
Okay, so tomorrow's the big day.
Yep. Tomorrow's big day.
Hi,
That's
Cat.
exciting.
Cat in time. Just
Will
joined.
your book be in Kindle Unlimited?
It is, yep. It's in Kindle Unlimited, yeah.
Oh, good. What about an audiobook?
I don't know. I mean, I would love to have Paige do an audiobook. I want Paige to do. If you're going to listen to or if you're going to read The Hunted, I would say do the audiobook because that book, even though I wrote it, I don't feel like I have any ownership of the audiobook. She did it so incredibly well that
that's great.
It's just magical to me. So I would say listen to that. I believe Jenifer follows Paige. She was just talking about something she learned. And Addison, she's going to do one of your books, right? Or some of your books?
Yeah, I was going to ask if it's Paige Resenfeld. I don't know if that's how you say her last name, but she's so awesome. I wanted her for my first series, and I don't know why that didn't happen, but I'm really glad. I think this next series will be a much better fit with her and PJ. But yeah, I think I'm excited to see what she does.
She's fantastic. She did all my short stories. I have 3 short stories.
Wow.
She did The Dollhouse and she did The Hunted. I need to do The Mercy because that's the final part of the trilogy. Hey, Dad joined. Hi, Dad. He's not my dad.
From the beyond?
Maybe it's Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy. So I want her to do Little Doves because that's one of my very favorite books. And then I think she's going to have a really good time with these. because she does voices so well.
That's
So
awesome.
JC asked how you found your narrator.
I found her on TikTok.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
That's
I was
amazing.
following her
Wow.
on TikTok way back when I first joined, and she had just started, and we started just chit chatting because I didn't know how anything worked, and so I was asking her questions like in direct messaging, and I followed her. And the minute I got to do an audiobook, I was like, "Hey, will you do it?" And she said yes. So you're gonna
TikTok
love
is a
working.
great platform for audiobook narrators. You know, you
Yeah.
can hear their work, and I especially love any audiobook narrator that's like talking about the books they're narrating because they're giving you extra publicity. It's
And
pretty
she
cool.
does that, yeah. And today she and PJ were having some trouble because they're doing a romance, I think. And the setup for it was just hysterical because he could not say the lines with a straight face because the way she set him up. And it's just so fun to watch them and doing their process. It's fun.
So I have a question. So she narrated The Hunted.
Hmm.
Did you tell her things like, I want, these characters to be this ethnicity or sound like this,
Well, there
or
are
did
specific. There are two different Latino women that she had to make sound different, and then the two secondary main characters are both young women from the South, so they had to sound different. So what she does is she finds sections that are each of those characters and does their voice for you. It kind of gives it to you so you can listen and go, that sounds right. Can you turn this up? Can you turn that down? I needed CB to be a little more Chicago and Vero to be a lot more South American. She nailed it.
Wow.
that's great.
Yeah.
I have to say that listening to my audiobook narration, like I've used many different narrators and none of them have been cheap. They've all been, very, very
Forthcoming.
talented.
Yeah.
But the first time that I get my audiobook back to proof it, that is for me like one of the worst. I just don't even want to listen. I'm so
Nope.
afraid that
Yep.
it's not going to be good. And it's never not been good. But don't
Right.
you think it's just really unsettling that someone else
Yes.
took your work and
I had
did
for
what?
for the Dollhouse, I had to have Ryan, my PA, do it. I have not listened to the Dollhouse, and I can't listen to the Dollhouse because I know I'm going to want to rewrite it because it was my first book. But The Hunted, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't even feel like I own it. She does because she did it so well that I didn't. If there's mistakes, I did not feel them because I was so enthralled by what she was doing.
What don't you like about the Dollhouse? Why do you?
It's
I just read it and I absolutely loved it, and I really liked you, so I was a little nervous that like, what if I don't like it? Then what am I gonna say? What am I gonna do? It's gonna be so awkward.
right.
And it was just so creepy and good, and I loved it. I was like, I love this vibe.
Yeah.
And then you were like, you act like you're not thrilled with it, and I'm
It's
wondering
too
why.
long. In the book the dates are messed up because I had two different developmental editors and they kind of got into you should do this, you should do this, and when I tried to make everybody happy, I messed up. So I just need to do some quality control stuff to it.
I didn't notice any of that. I didn't notice. I think if people are really caught up in the story, they don't notice things like that.
I hope so. But someday I do want to fix it. I just have to put on my big girl pants and do it. But
So I am wondering something about your cozy. I know you're saying it's very character driven and you're building a world. Did you have to do a lot of research, or is this just purely coming from your imagination? Is it based off of a town that you already live in?
No.
Like, how did you build that world?
There is a town. It's not really inspired by, but there's a town on the Mississippi River that's like Galena, Illinois. Is not Bliss, but it sort of inspired it. I wanted it to be located where it is, and I wanted it to be on the river. And I like some of the Iowa landscape opportunities, so I just started making stuff up.
Nice.
It's fun. It's really fun.
That's the best way to do it, really.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't have to worry about facts and all that, pesky business.
Yeah.
So you working every single day on these books?
Yes.
Every single day, like
Yeah.
9 to 5 type of thing?
Kind of, yeah. Because now this is my full-time job, which is terrifying. So I was worried, like when I first, at the end of March, when I first became a full-time writer, I set a schedule. It's like, okay, you're going to have to tell yourself to do this. I am so self-motivated. I don't have to do that. So I get up, I start writing. The thing I have to sort of schedule that I am absolutely terrible at is marketing and admin. I hate it. I hate it so much. I could write 24 hours a day, but getting myself motivated to sit down and come up with marketing stuff is hard.
Kat wants to know if you had an inspiration for your characters or which one's your favorite character in the new cozy.
In the new cozy, it's probably, well, it's Lyssa. In the original version, she was inspired by me because you're not going to believe this, but I used to have social phobia really bad. Like, if I had to talk to somebody I didn't know, I could throw up. I would get that stressed out. And so I had Lyssa be like that, but she became a successful author, and her agent and publisher wanted her to do a book tour, and it just horrified her. She couldn't do it. There's no way. And that was all totally based on me. But in that version of Living in Bliss, her best friend Holly offers to be the author, and then decides she likes that. And if Lyssa won't let her take over being the author, she's going to get rid of Lyssa. So it was a very different book. Now they're best friends and nobody's trying to kill each other that way.
Okay.
Well, I think the name Holly is a great character name.
I know, isn't it a great name? Holly,
the best one I can even think of.
Yeah, I didn't spell it right though. I spelled it wrong.
That's okay.
Okay.
That's okay. I was reading the blurb today and I was like, oh, there's a Holly character. And I knew one author before I was ever a writer. Like 25 years ago, my first job out of college, one of my coworkers' husband was a horror author.
Oh, wow.
And a fairly successful one. And I think when I started writing back in like 2016, 2017, he came out with a new book and he finally featured a character. She dies really quickly, but her name was Holly with an I. So I was like, oh, you finally wrote me into one of your books like 17 years later. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, the bad guy in this book, there is a certain horror author that got into a kerfluffle about getting upset with reviewers. Is anybody aware of that? Okay, good. Well,
no, I don't. I'm not privy to the drama.
Oh, that's
some of it's probably.
But it did inspire the drama in the book. So there's some of that. It's like, hey.
So Kat asked if you have a street team.
I don't.
Good.
I need a street team. Do you want to be on my street team?
Yeah, Kat, if you want to be on anyone's street team,
we'll
I
all
currently have,
take it.
I think, 3 members.
We will all happily
more.
take you.
Yes.
Yeah.
To have somebody that's this involved in the book talk world on TikTok, oh my gosh, Kat, we would be fighting over you.
We'll give you whatever you want.
Yes, well, anything you want. Yep, we will all be very happy to help you be happy helping us.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people don't realize how much it means to an author, and each of you maybe share your experience of when somebody shares our books on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. Yeah. Like it means so much to us, and it's so valuable, and it's like one person who she keeps posting on Instagram, like, and she's saying that my new book came out on her birthday. So I told her, give me your address, I'll send it to you for your birthday. Like, cause she posts like daily about my books. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like we just, as authors, really, it's something, there's probably not a lot more you could do that would like make us happy than to share our books.
Do you guys I still get, sometimes I get teary if I get an email from a reader saying they love my book. I have imposter syndrome big time, and I think a lot of authors do. And that's one of the most effective, not cures for it, but it's like medicine. You know, if you're feeling insecure and you're feeling like, I'm not sure why am I doing this? I'm embarrassing myself. And then somebody loves your book. There's nothing that makes you want to sit down and write more than that.
Yeah, I feel like I can have like the absolute lowest day. And then someone from out of the blue will say, they'll send me an email. My daughter shared your book with me and I love it so much. I'm like, and I just like, the whole day is just, everything else is gone for at least a little while.
Yeah.
Now, what about the flip side of that? Do you guys ever have a hard time taking the compliments? because when I get them, sometimes I'm like, I don't really know what to say, especially I do a lot of festivals. And so I might have somebody that'll kind of come up and look at my booth and they'll go, "Oh, you have a new book. Oh, yay. I'm so glad. I love these books." And I blank. I don't even know what to say. It's a thank you. Clearly, I'm excited about that. But I just, taking the compliments is really hard.
It can be for sure. Yeah, it can be. Hey, Kat, we should talk outside of the live. I'm sure all of us would love to have you on our street teams.
Absolutely. And just kind of replying to Kat, she's talking about how she doesn't see a lot of authors asking for street teams. I think one thing is that I know that I asked, like my newsletter, if anybody wanted, because I have an ARC team, which they're wonderful. But a street team is different, right? That's like posting on social media. That's like hyping up the book before our launch. And I think a lot of us have found that some people just don't follow through. Like those who will sign up and don't follow through. And a lot of people don't sign up. Like I think when I did mine, like I have a decent sized ARC team, but only like 3 people offered to be on the street team. That's why I only have 3 people on my street team. And whenever I find someone, someone had reached out to me because they were going out of town or something and wanted my new book. And I was like, she was on, Book Talk and everywhere. And I said, "Do you want to be on my street team? Like, I'll give you the book right now. Like, just if you want to be on the team." So, and she happened to also be a Swiftie, so she definitely made the team. But
Hey, did you see JC's question?
no, I didn't because it went by too fast.
She would like everybody to talk about their series.
Oh.
I think that's an excellent idea.
Do you want me to change our grid then?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Now that I'm a pro at changing our scene, let's see.
You're fancy.
Yay!
Oh, before I have to show my face.
Look at that.
I was tilting upward. I gotta get this. This is not a flattering angle.
I can tell you, Kat, we definitely would like more street teams. Street teams are so valuable. I know for me, for one, I would love to do, I don't know if any of you have done this, is I would love to be able to give my street team like swag along with the book itself. Like, I love that stuff. I just right now, like, that's on my list of like, not the most important thing to do, but something that sounds really fun is to just have stuff that's like, hey, like, because I have the Martina Monroe series. It's like, I'm really heavy into, Martina branding, and like, I would like stickers and I don't know, a mug. I don't know, just all the stuff plus the book so that my street team, because like I said, we're so appreciative of people who share our books. It's like, I want to give them whatever I can and make it fun,
I have some fun ideas for street team stuff. It'd be fun to be able to actually give it to somebody.
Yeah.
I don't have a street team. I don't have a single person. I have an ARC team, but I've had them for a long time. And honestly, I think I had most of them before it was even a thing that you posted on social media. So they all, they'll post a review on like Goodreads and Amazon, but I don't have anybody that's like, goes and does book reviews. And Kat was saying she's on a team where you have to post at least twice a month or get cut.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, that author, that's amazing. Once I paid someone to do, it was called Susie Approved Book Tours. Have you seen that on Instagram?
Mm-mm.
So I paid her, and the reviewers don't get paid, but I paid her to find them.
Yeah.
And she found me like 15 people, and I sent them each a book and some swag. And it was really nice to see they each had a date that they had to post, and to see each posted a beautiful picture and a nice book review. And it was so great, but it was also very expensive to do. So I just didn't do it again.
Yeah. No, well, I have a friend who can help with that if you want to do it again. And she specializes in thrillers. Hi, Ella.
Hi, Ella. Thanks for joining. This is a good segue. If you're just now joining, we are on Mystery Thriller Monday. We are the Mystery Thriller Book Club. Today we are talking with Sara Isabelle, also known as Sara Ennis, about her new cozy mystery that comes out tomorrow, Living in Bliss. And at the end of the hour, we are going to be doing one winner will get a signed copy of Sara's new book. And right now we're kind of in overall, like the 4 of us around here. We have author Addison Michael. We have author Jenifer Ruff. I'm HK Christie. And of course, we have Sara Ennis slash Sara Isabelle, thriller and cozy mystery author now.
Yes. And
Thanks
Ella
for
is an
joining.
author too.
And we are here every Monday, starting last week, for Mystery Thriller Mondays. We have a new topic. We have been interviewing authors each week. I think we have a lineup. But just talking about all things thriller and mystery books. We're all authors in the club, so like and share. We often have winners, so stay
I
tuned.
think next week,
J.E. Rowney?
Yeah, so it might be a little earlier because she's over in England and we don't want her to have to be on here at 2 a.m. Yes. We should have Ella talk about Ella's Indie Explosion. She's doing a special program where she's promoting indie authors. So everybody here should make sure they check in with her.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna just screenshot my phone so I can check out Ella's
Good
page.
idea. Okay. Oh.
Okay, no problem, Ella. But I can send everybody Ella's information too.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, cool.
We're in the Cover
Cool,
Girls
good to
book club
know.
together too.
So let's see. JC a while back said that we should maybe talk about
Your series.
our series. Sarah, do you want to do a quick recap of your series before we move on to a new author? Just so people are just joining now, just a quick overview of what you've got out, what you've got coming out tomorrow.
Okay. So tomorrow, my first cozy, Living in Bliss, is coming out, and there are 12 planned, and there's probably going to be a lot more. So that is under the author name Sara Isabelle, because I don't want to traumatize anybody by having them mix up my author names. And then my thrillers, which are very dark and the exact opposite of cozies, are The Dollhouse, The Hunted, The Mercy, and Little Doves. And then the book that shall remain locked up and hidden from everybody. Whoa, Jenifer, you went red. What happened?
It's someone's headlights.
Oh.
We're really close to the car in front of us. Their headlights are shining in the window.
Wow.
I'm almost home.
Okay.
It's getting so dark in the car.
It was just like, we are thrillers, so.
Yeah, that was the car headlights.
Okay.
Taillights.
Okay, so that was.
You want to maybe Addison? You want to go next since you just had our new release last week?
Yeah, sure. I have a 5-book thriller. It's a mystery thriller series and has a little bit of ghostly suspense in it, a little bit of psychological. And from that series, I have a spin-off character, and I created a new series, which is a U.S. Marshal series with character Stephen Wilton, and he partners with a female U.S. Marshal, and they go solve crimes. And so I think this series is a little bit lighter than my first series, but I think I'll always be a series writer. I'm with Sarah. My characters keep talking to me, and so I can't seem to just do a one and done. I think I fall in love with them, and they communicate with me, and so I have to keep writing. So I think I'll always be a series writer.
Jenifer, why don't you go next?
I have 3 series. They're all a little bit dark, but I did start out very dark, and I think I'm kind of lightening up a little as I go. I have a medical thriller series featuring an FBI agent and a CDC epidemiologist. And that's my background. So I really love writing those. They're about like viruses and neurotoxins. And I have a series about, they're dark. And I have a series about a medical student who is a psychopath. And then I have the series that I'm currently writing in is the Agent Victoria series. And she is an FBI agent who has each book features a different investigation, and I think those have been a lot of fun. I have a few standalones.
I just finished Pretty Little Girls, and I loved it. And your narrator was fantastic, and I need to do it.
Oh, thanks. That book was actually really important to me. I did so much research for that book, and even though it is a mystery thriller meant to entertain, like. It's about sex trafficking, and all of the stories in that book were real people's stories. Like, so yeah, I feel like that is probably my most important book, maybe.
Well,
And Holly,
And Holly, that's me, HK Christie. And
how
it's
about
so funny. I'm just going to say this before I start because, so I think Jenifer, you and I both have a science background. So I have
yeah,
like my first like so I ended as like a portfolio program manager, but I started off as a scientist in the lab. So my degrees are in chemistry and business. So and I say this because I don't think I've read another author that's a closer comp to me than your books. Like I think that
yeah,
our books, like they're like there's no one who's like closer in like if you like Jenifer's books, you're gonna like my books. If you like my books, you're gonna like Jenifer's books, hands down.
yeah,
Um, because I recently read Pretty Little Girls, and I have books on sex trafficking and human that like is kind of like is the central theme. So I was like, I know the hard research that goes into it. It's like real life is so much worse than anything we write. Is all I'm gonna say. Like,
yeah.
so for
So
me,
do
I
you
start.
have books
Yeah,
that are based on your science background also?
no,
No.
no, but everybody asks me. Everybody asks me about it. They're like, oh, because I left the industry like I don't know 3 years ago, and they're like, oh, so do you have a lot of science in your books? I'm like, no, 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 no. I have forensic science, but I wasn't a forensic scientist. So, but I was an analytical chemist. So I think one of the books I think talks about like chromatography or something. I don't know. But my first thriller series that I wrote, mystery thriller, is a Selena Bailey series, which is a young woman who it starts off that was my first series that kind of tackled a different social issue, the first one being intimate partner violence, and then each one kind of different social issues. They're really dark and heavy, but it kind of follows her path to becoming a PI. That was the first series that I wrote, and then from that series a character in that book I fell in love with, which is Martina Monroe. She actually was started in the Selena Bailey series. And so my main series now is the Martina Monroe series, which book 12 comes out in a couple of weeks, I think. So what ended up being her backstory ended up being 13 books, a prequel plus the 12. And she's a PI who ends up partnering for part of the series, part of her career, partners with the sheriff's department to solve cold cases. So I use a lot of influence from listening to true crime, reading true crime, and I read all kinds of books to just, I love reading. But I'm excited for book 12 because it actually bridges the Selena and Martina series timelines finally, because I've confused a lot of readers. They're like, how come Martina's in a different time zone in the Selena books than in the Martina series? I'm like, Martina's the backstory, and then Selena's the future. And I didn't plan it out very well like Sarah, who's got her 12 books planned out. Mine was like, seat of my pants. I don't plan anything. I just.
and don't you have a new series coming out too?
I do have a new series coming out. That is, it'll come out end of August. And there's 3 books currently planned. And that features an FBI agent who she is captured by one of the serial killers that she was hunting. She was part of that team. She was captured. She survived, obviously, and but that kind of rocked her world and made her go home because she was put on leave because she had to heal and had to go through therapy and all that sort of thing before she go back to active duty. And then her life unravels into where, of course, she goes home, and of course, there's a crime that's committed, and she has to help solve it because she's home. So, and then from there, her life sort of unfolds and kind of changes in unexpected ways. And that one I wrote is she's a woman who's in her mid 40s and kind of looking at life. Like I'm also in my mid to late 40s. So I saw that as she's a divorced woman who is looking at her life differently and seeing that the importance of female friendships and found family is a big theme throughout that, as well as solving horrific crimes that just happened to happen in her hometown since she got home. So, but yeah, that one's it's really near and dear to me because of like it was inspired from some friends in my life who their whole life upended when they had to take care of their parents.
Yeah.
When they got sick. And so I thought, this I think would be great it's a story that isn't often told, the sacrifices that adult children make for their parents as they get older. So that friend of mine inspired that. So
Nice.
yeah. So I really love the new series and kind of really it's evolving. I don't plan anything. So it's really evolving. I'm writing book 3 right now, and it's really evolving. Is what's kind of central themes throughout this series will be definitely found family is in all of my books.
Yeah.
But this one's also really the sort of women in their second half of life, I think, and just she's still she's still investigating murder and crime, but just kind of what her personal life looks like in your mid to late 40s.
Yeah.
How life changes things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Kat has a question about favorite snacks or drink while writing.
Protein shake all the time, or coffee.
Coffee.
I always have water next to me.
Water. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
have
not
that
empty,
too.
but yeah.
I have water. I have protein shake because that's my dinner.
Sometimes when I'm really stressed and just need to get some words done, I will have like a glass of wine, some tequila maybe. I've done it. I don't edit under the influence, but I definitely.
Wait, did
When
you
I
just
needed
say
to-
wine? Did you say wine with tequila?
No.
No, not with tequila. Wine or. Always or.
That's
Always
what I heard.
or. Never at the same time. No. Although I've done it and I don't recommend it.
No. Yes.
The bar afterwards. Just don't.
That's one thing that
Especially
we
in your
have in
40s.
common.
Don't do it.
Yeah. Holly and I both like tequila and wine, so
Yes.
But not
yes.
together.
not together. No.
Not together. No. Definitely not. Definitely not.
JC wants to know what inspired everybody to start a writing career.
Sarah, you want to start?
I started telling stories when I was 4. I mean, it just came out of me being full of shit. I mean, stories. And I've always done it. Sorry.
I have to laugh because I love to cuss too, Sarah. I'm with you.
We just can't do it on camera. Yeah.
Or
So,
in our books.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of our
I do.
I don't.
Yeah, I do in my thrillers. I don't. That was the hard part about the cozy brain is no swearing. So getting creative in the swearing is very funny.
I don't do it a lot. I mean, it's just certain characters, and in the moment, you might have one of them let something fly here or there. So for the most part, my stuff is pretty clean.
I don't have any swears, and all of my books are like dire life and death situations, and it's crazy that my characters are not swearing right and left because I would be, but I think I say damn maybe twice in 15 books. That's all I've said. I've tried to be really careful. I don't know how authentic it is, but it just seems to piss off enough people that I thought, if I can just not do it, then no one's going to complain that there's no swears, but it amazes me how many people complain that there are. So I've tried to keep it clean.
My first series has some swears, and I didn't decide, like, not a lot, but a few. And with Martina, I decided not to because I did get comments on the other ones. I'm like, I'm just going to make this clean from now on. And so I'm actually, before I write the next book in the Martina series, because it's going to be after Selena, I'm going to read through all the Selena books and clean them up. There's not a lot of swears, but there's like F words are dropped. And even I was surprised. It's been 6 years since I wrote it. So I was like, I was just on live and I was just like, I'm going to read the first chapter. I'm like, oh, that's saucy. Okay.
Yeah.
But because you have to read like the Selena series after 12 to get before 13, like, I'm like, I should clean it up for people who really, they're used to my books being pretty clean. Like, damn is, maybe 1 or 2.
You could have a clean version and the original, like have 2 versions.
Yeah. But it's not that, I mean, there's not a lot because I kind of, the middle of Selena, I think I did stop using it. So it's just the first 3 probably. And I think the F word can have been used more than a few times, I think.
I think in the dollhouse it's in there like 40 times. But I have a 14-year-old boy who's trying to feel big. So that's the only weapon he's got is to swear. So.
Yeah, I don't really, I write from my stream of consciousness and I don't really want to censor my characters, but at the same time, I don't think I have any F words. I think if maybe one character had something on a bumper sticker that had been burned. And so like I allude to the F word, but it doesn't actually make it onto the page. And so, it's pretty light. It's more so in my Mine Art series than it is in this spin-off series for sure.
So how did you start writing, Addison?
Oh, well, I was a reader first, and I had a real chaotic childhood. kind of a alcoholic dad, crazy. There were, we had 6 brothers and sisters, and it was just pure chaos. And so I would remove myself physically from the house and go find a place outside on a nice day, and I would just read, and I'd read anything I could get my hands on. And it wasn't too long before I wanted to write, and I had found Mary Higgins Clark, and so I wanted to be just like her, so I wrote like her. and my first book I ever wrote was pretty early. I think I was 15 or 16, and it was a carbon copy, and it wasn't mine, it wasn't me, but it started that journey of, okay, I want to be a writer. My childhood dream was to be a writer. And so when when the pandemic happened and we all went home, I was like, what haven't I done in my life? And it was to be a writer. So I really started writing seriously then. Yeah.
How about you, Jenifer?
I don't have a good story. Actually, it's kind of like Addison, except completely the opposite. I had the most quiet, peaceful little childhood you could ever imagine. I was an only child till I was 13. It was just me and a ton of animals, horses and dogs. And my father was the director of a library. And
Ooh.
every single day he would bring home a giant stack of books for me every single day. And by the time I was 3 years old, I was reading like,
Me too.
I mean, there's nothing else. We had no TVs, just me, animals, and my books. So I've just
That's
always
awesome.
I've always devoured books, but then I had a career where it never occurred to me to write. I was making a great living and I was so busy. And I stopped working a year after my third child was born. My children are now all adults in their 20s, but I stopped working and I had nothing to do, well, except take care of my kids. But I felt like I had no identity. I needed something so badly. And I had written a thesis in graduate school that nobody read. It was like so boring, but I was proud that like when it was all bound with like a leather binding, I was like, oh my gosh, I did this. I think I remembered that feeling and I thought, well, I could write. I read, so I could write. It's not that easy, and it took me a while to realize it's not, no matter how much you read, that doesn't mean you can write a good book. But I evolved, and I'm so glad that I did, because I just love it. It's just so fun to create your own world, to have something that you own that you can influence. I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
Do you ever miss your old career?
I miss my income. And for years after quitting, if someone would say like, "Oh, what do you do?" then I would always be like, "Well, even if it was 3 years ago, I just quit," because I was so proud of what I'd accomplished.
Yeah.
But now I think nobody really asks anymore. But like none of my neighbors, I think my neighbors all think I don't know, twiddle my thumbs in the house. Like I don't think they even know that I write. So I don't miss it. I'm super busy. But yeah, I miss a steady income. I miss that, when you have a regular job, you don't have to be on TikTok and Instagram literally every day saying what you do, talking about what you do.
Yeah.
But no, but I do love writing. Love
Yeah.
it, love it, love it.
That's the best part. Holly.
Um, Trying to see, we have 1 minute left. Long story short, I'd say 2024. I think about 9 years ago, I was kind of like Jenifer, where I had a career that I was really proud of. I had, was in the sciences. I went to graduate school. I was more successful financially, brand new house, like in a really nice area that like I couldn't be like, there was no more goals left. And I really wasn't actually very happy. It was like, I had to take a really good look at myself because I'm like, why am I still not happy? Like, there's nothing I want for. I grew up very, don't come from a privileged background, a very chaotic childhood. Like, why am I not happier when I have all this stuff and I have the career and all this stuff? And I decided to start reading self-help books and ended up reading The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, and decided I was going to figure out what bad habit I had in my life, change it, and see what the outcome was, because that's the whole sort of premise of the book. And during that, I found that I'd really, at the time, I was way better shape than I am now. I was like very into fitness and health, and I'm like, I don't really have that many bad habits. And then I realized I watch a lot of TV. I still watch a lot of TV. So what I did was I ended up not watching TV for 30 days. I didn't watch any screens, no movies, nothing for 30 days just to see what would happen. And as a former scientist, I had this whole hypothesis of what I thought was going to happen. None of it happened, right? Because it was like, I was not cleaning out the garage. I was not, doing all these things because I don't do things I don't want to do. I've learned from an author coach, like my career coach now, that like I don't do things I don't want to do. So it was all those things I wasn't doing because I didn't want to do them. But what I found during that experiment was I started journaling, or decided something clicked in my brain. Like, maybe I'll write a book about this experience. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what gave me the idea to like, oh, I'll write a book about this. And then I said that, and then my husband's like, hey, James Altucher just came out with this thing about self-publishing it. You could publish it. And I was like, what? And then I got the idea of turning that into a book, but it was super boring because it read like a research paper. Ended up scrapping that. It was actually interesting to learn about the effects of your brain with television, which is your brain is the least active while watching television. Your brain is more active sleeping than watching TV. A little bit of a tip. But anyway, very interesting research when I was writing that. It was totally boring and it's like a research paper. But then I just got inspired to write fiction. I read a lot of books. And so one book had inspired me to write kind of a story that was loosely based on my life, with my sort of chaotic childhood and having a sister with cancer while I was growing up, and kind of that effect on all of the siblings. I come from a really big family. And then from there, I kind of wrote these women's fiction books. And then I was like, actually, I love mystery thriller. And then that's when I realized, it was during that time that I realized how much I absolutely loved writing. And so from that point forward, figured out how to get out of my career to write full time. So.
And you have. You've done a great job.
And I do not miss my old job at all.
No, I don't miss my old job either. I need to keep this job.
Well, the thing is, as a writer, I'm a pretty big introvert where I don't talk to anybody all day long except when my husband comes home or to the dog. So I used to lead teams. So I was constantly interacting with people, problem solving with people, trying to get people to do their jobs. Yeah. And it sucked everything out of me. Yeah. So I love being a writer. Yeah. Yeah. So I wouldn't trade it for anything. This is the best job ever.
It is.
It is,
so
but it
we're actually at it. Yeah. I was gonna say we're actually out of time. If anybody's still with us, we've got JC still, we've got Kat is still here. Does anybody have any last comments before we wrap it and do the winner? Someone is going to be the winner of a signed copy of Sarah's new book, Living in Bliss.
And if anybody they want a thriller, I'll throw one in too. How do we do
still here? Kat's still here. Thank you for still being here.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you, guys. Last week we did we asked someone a question, and so they could, if they were paying attention, then they could answer, and the first one won the books.
Okay. So who's asking the question?
I think that's you.
Probably you, since it's about your book, like a book. So Addison asked a question about her book.
What was the aunt's name in Living in Bliss? What's the aunt's name? Ella knows this because she read it. She's one of my early readers. But you could answer anyway, Ella, because nobody else seems to know.
Maybe I'll also put it in the questions here.
Oh, that's probably a good idea.
What is Lyssa's aunt's name?
Holly, are you the only one who can type a comment?
I don't know.
JC got it.
I wouldn't think so.
JC got it, kinda. Yeah.
Oh, I would have said the same thing.
It's like JC is the winner?
Yep. JC's half right, so we'll give her points.
Okay, so what's the real answer then, Sarah?
The real answer is her name is Maybe.
Her name is
what did she put? Maybe Mabel.
He said maybe Mabel.
Right. Yeah. That's why I said she's half right. Oh. There you go. Yep.
Oh, Maybee.
Because her name is Maybelline, but when she was a kid, they started calling her Maybe because that's her attitude.
How fun.
Okay, so you can message JC, Sarah, and she'll get her winning copy of your new book, Living in Bliss. Unless anybody else has anything else they want to talk about today, we can close out.
And Kat will be in touch.
Yes. Well, thank you all. We will be here
Thank
next
you.
week for Mystery Thriller Mondays. We have an author we are going to be interviewing. It'll be J.E. Rowney. She has a new psychological thriller
But
coming
it'll
out
be 2
on
hours
Friday.
early. It'll be
2
early.
hours early. Okay.
Yeah. 2 hours early.
So it's
Okay.
5 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Pacific.
Yes.
That's where I'm at.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone who joined.
Thanks,
Thank you so
guys.
much.
Thank
This
you,
has been
everyone.
fun.
Thank
Have a
you
good
for
one.
hosting, Holly.
Good job.
I'm learning how to do grids, so
You're
I feel
doing
like
great.
I'm learning
Good
new
job.
skills all the time.
I know how to turn myself into a cat. I learned how to do that on the Cover Girls.
Like, that's a good skill to have.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
Happy Memorial Day, everybody.
You
I've
too.
got to go
Okay.
join my crazy family in there for the party. I'll see you.
Okay. Bye.
Have fun.
Bye, everyone.